Hello, and welcome to the 2026 State of the Park District podcast. I'm your host, Sameera Luthman. I'm here today with two very special guests, our Executive Director, Brad Wilson, and Park Board President, Leslie Ruffing. Thanks to both of you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So this is just going to be a nice kind of casual conversation, a little bit of a departure from what we've done typically with the State of the Park District before. Interestingly, we've been producing a State of the Park District since 2011, and that used to be in person. And then in 2018, we migrated to a podcast. But even since then, I mean, if you look around, things are a little bit different, wouldn't you say? And I've got a studio and all that.
Full studio,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's been great to see it evolve.
Continuous improvement, as I always like to say.
Yeah.
So
Great.
again, thank you for joining me. We're going to cover quite a lot of territory today because this is just going to be one conversation. In the past, we've had several conversations with different members of staff. So we're going to talk about some newsworthy items in 2025. And actually, it's still only January, but something exciting happened earlier this month. We're going to talk about some recreation highlights, accreditations, environmental stewardship, and some things that are going on in our parks and environment, our strategic plan, the referendum, which I know is kind of a big topic of conversation, and then I want to do a little bit of looking ahead as we wrap up. So I'm going to start, first of all, with in 2025, Leslie, we welcomed a new board member. Would you like to talk a little bit about that person?
I'd love to. Aishwarya was elected in 2025 along with several other commissioners who were reelected to the board. And I'm just so thrilled to have her join. Obviously, feel free to fact check me, but I do believe she's the first Asian American to ever serve on this board. She's also has to be, if not the youngest, one of the youngest commissioners that the Park District has ever had. So, that along with her background in public health, she brings a really interesting, new, diverse voice to this board that I think is just fantastic.
And it's excellent to have new voices and new ideas, so that's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
We also added some new parks in 2025. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
We did. We added our 139th and 140th park to the Park District, that being Fairlane Farms Park and Polo Club Park, which are part of the Polo Club subdivision in South Naperville. So it was great to be able to celebrate those park openings last fall and celebrate with some of the residents and certainly look forward to, there are some future developments coming up to where we're going to be adding additional parks in the coming years.
Right, which is just amazing to me. And you think about the Naperville Park District is 60 years old in 2026. It's incredible that you look at an organization that's that old and we're still adding, we're still growing and still changing. And I think that's just a testament to the dynamic nature of our organization.
Absolutely. And it's incredible to see the community still continuing to grow. I remember, over 20 years ago, some of the thoughts were, well, Naperville is close to build out. It's close to build out.
Right.
And it just keeps growing. It just keeps adding. And families are looking to come to this community for all that's available to them.
And it's amazing to see that community engagement. You mentioned the park openings that we have, and that's such a great opportunity when we have those. We bring on a new park or we renovate an existing playground, and you just see the families and people of all ages come out to celebrate with us, and it's really fun.
And it's great to have the involvement of so many residents and families when we are completing those projects.
Right.
Like our playground renovation projects, the families are being part of helping to select the equipment, what that playground's going to look like. And so it's fun to be able to celebrate them when we're able to open.
Definitely. So community, they're great partners of ours. Obviously, we serve them through the recreation opportunities that we provide. We also have a lot of wonderful partnerships at the Park District, and there's a couple that I want to highlight from 2025. The first one being Max's Mission and a special project over at the Rothermel Skate Facility. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, over the past couple of years, the Park District, we've worked with Max's Mission to install 4 murals that are at the Rothermel Family Skate Facility at Centennial Park. And really the purpose of the murals is to add beauty to the park, to showcase the diversity and creativity of the skate community, and to serve as a message of hope for those struggling with mental health or are lost by suicide. And so it was wonderful to bring the family to be able to help dedicate the murals. Quite a large gathering from the community that came out to that celebration. And it's just a wonderful addition to the park and to help share that overall message.
Well, and you talk about the beauty of the murals. I mean, they're gorgeous. You come upon, walking down the Riverwalk and by the skate facility, and it's so vibrant. The other thing that really strikes me about that particular event where you said we had such a large turnout was in October, and it was this beautiful warm day, and it couldn't have been better. So it was a wonderful celebration for the family. Leslie, do you have anything to add to that?
I could not agree more. It was one of the more special moments I've had since I joined the board, and to see so many people from the community come together like that was just so special to me. I give so much credit to Park District staff, who I know worked really closely with Max's mission for several years to get that project going. And like you said, having that stunning piece of colorful art in downtown near the Riverwalk, what a great addition to the downtown, and it really can speak to everybody. It was a very proud moment.
Well, and even before the event, just watching the artist put that together and just his talent in painting it, and you would see people stop and just be in awe of the artistry. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the other partnerships I want to talk about is the Healing Field of Honor, which came into focus. We had the event in November in conjunction with Veterans Day. Brad, do you want to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, this was actually the Park District's fifth time hosting or co-hosting Naperville Healing Field of Honor to really honor those who are currently serving or who have served in the military. And so last fall, we worked with Operation Support Our Troops America, with Naperville Response for Veterans, the VFW, American Legion, a number of volunteers to be able to bring back just a wonderful display of American flags on Rotary Hill over the Veterans Day holiday. We held 2 celebrations, an opening ceremony, as well as the Veterans Day ceremony as part of that. And in addition to the flags, we once again brought back the Vietnam Wall of Remembrance. And
what an incredible display.
Beautiful display. A wall. The panels were actually donated a few years ago by Blooming Color here in Naperville. And our trade staff, as well as volunteers from Naperville Response for Veterans, actually constructed the wall. And it was just a wonderful display. A number of Vietnam veterans, as well as all ages, coming out to be able to see the wall and to take that in.
Well, and you talk about watching the setup of that happen, too. That's something else. You see people walking along the Riverwalk and just stand kind of, again, in awe at just the whole display and what it takes to get that set up.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful when it's up.
It is. Yeah.
I hear a lot of so much positive remarks from the community during that time. And I don't think folks realize how it's a big job to set all that up. And again, I have to give staff a lot of big kudos for taking the time, because it really does mean a lot to the community.
So at the beginning of my introduction, I talked about, kind of alluded to 2026, and we're just not even, 1 month into 2026, and we've had something exciting kind of happen with regard to one of our sports complexes.
We have. We just learned in January of 2026 that the Naperville Park District was one of 2 park districts in DuPage County that was selected for an OSLAD grant through the state of Illinois. OSLAD stands for Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Grant through the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. The Park District's going to receive $600,000 towards improvements at Nike Sports Complex. And so we're excited to be able to begin that project. We very much appreciate all of the support that we receive from state legislators, not only for the OSLAD grant, but we have also received tremendous support from Senator Ellman, from Representative Stava, Representative Yang Rohr, with other funding to be able to assist with playground renovation projects and other parks throughout the community. In addition to the OSLAD grant that's going to help with funding improvements at Nike, we're also working with Naperville Little League Baseball, and they are going to make a $200,000 donation to assist with transitioning some of the ball fields at Nike to synthetic turf infields to increase the overall playability. So,
and you talk about another great partnership, Naperville Little League.
Naperville Little League, yeah. Converting
to synthetic turf. We've done that at DuPage River Sports Complex and also at Knock Park. So that's a great partnership that continues.
Absolutely. This will be the third and fourth field that we've worked with Naperville Little League to be able to complete.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'd like to move to recreation highlights. And we've got some significant anniversaries this year. I already mentioned the 60th anniversary of the Naperville Park District, which is hard to believe. But there's a few other ones. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah, so we have a few anniversaries this year with the Fort Hill Activity Center. Hard to believe that it was 10 years ago that we opened that facility, the first larger recreation facility here with the Naperville Park District. Tremendously popular, and I know that's leading to some challenges that we're seeing that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yes.
But also, in addition to the 10-year anniversary at Fort Hill, we have Naperbrook Golf Course that's turning 35 years old. And then the Naperville Youth Soccer Program is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Actually, it is the largest program that the Park District offers, and just large number of children and parents that have gone through that program. So we're excited to celebrate that anniversary.
Definitely. And it's really a mainstay program of ours. I mean, when people think of the Naperville Park District, they think of Naperville Youth Soccer. And I think that's probably one of kind of the first opportunities that, parents sign their kids up. They're littles, because that's the experience where recreation and sports and sportsmanship and all those good things. So,
and it's a program that represents so much of what the Park District does in providing youth with that opportunity to begin learning a sport, socialization, being part of a team, and learning what that actually means.
Exactly. All those great fundamentals. Yeah.
Another big anniversary this year that's actually not directly Naperville Park District, but is very closely tied, is Western DuPage Special Recreation Association, or WDSRA.
Sure.
They are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. So WDSRA is an extension of the Naperville Park District, and they provide inclusion services for participants that are participating in our programs, as well as they offer programs designed specifically for individuals with special needs.
And another great partner of ours.
There's
that common thread just kind of weaving through our conversation. So
that's
absolutely fantastic. So going back to, we mentioned Fort Hill, we mentioned golf. Both of those areas have been experiencing such a tremendous boom, and it's really exciting to see. I mean, Fort Hill, as you mentioned, we opened it 10 years ago. We had kind of what happened in 2020, and we had to recover from that. And it's a similar story with golf, and it's pretty amazing to kind of watch those two areas just continue to experience this great growth.
It is. Golf is, this was our second year in a row, 2025, that is second year in a row of having over 93,000 golf rounds played combined at the two courses, which that's some of the highest numbers that have ever been recorded at the golf courses.
Right.
And it's not only the number of rounds, it's the participation within the programs, the youth and actually all ages that are signing up for lessons and wanting to learn more about the game. So that has just been tremendous. And our golf team has done really a very nice job with just accommodating just the overall growth and the demand that we're seeing within golf. But with Fort Hill, it seems like every month we're looking at a new record as far as the number of users at the facility, both in memberships as well as those coming to the facility to use it for various programs. And so, there's a tremendous amount of demand right now for that type of space.
That's great. It's really exciting to see that. So recreation in general, I know that post-2020, we saw kind of this surge in people participating at the Park District. We're still seeing that in a lot of areas, which is very exciting. And as you mentioned earlier, the community just continues to grow in numbers and kind of diverse interests and all those different aspects. So what is the Park District working on as far as that's concerned and meeting people's needs with recreation? Well,
certainly trying to meet the needs and the interests where we're seeing that within the programs that we're offering. So those programs where we have wait lists, we're trying to always add more program opportunities. We're trying to find additional instructors. We're looking at where we can possibly expand capacity. And in some areas, we're not able to do that, just not having enough space to be able to expand. But in those areas where we can expand, we will always look to expand to accommodate as many participants who want to participate as possible. We're also looking to engage the community and gather feedback from the community on what the greatest interests are, what the greatest needs are for programs. And we know that the program is becoming, or excuse me, the community is becoming more diverse.
Right.
So how do we understand and be able to engage a diverse community to understand what those diverse interests are within the community? And so that's something that we will continue to work on moving forward. The Park District, a little over a year ago, actually formed an inclusivity and engagement team.
Right.
So it's a team of staff from many different departments across the organization that are coming together to really work towards enhancing the overall Park District's visibility within the community, engaging with the diverse population within the community, and really trying to share that the Park District is a welcoming organization that we want many people to come and participate and utilize our facilities.
And that's been a great initiative. It's had staff going out to various events and really connecting with the community. And I feel like that's something that, as a Park District, as board and staff, we've done a really good job with, but we could always do more. And there's, as the community grows, there's more opportunities to connect with residents. So I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'd like to move our conversation to, we've got some accreditations going on this year, and not that, like with an accreditation, it's not something where, in a week you pull everything together and then you're kind of ready to go. This is a long process. So can you kind of walk us through that, what staff and board have gone through with that?
Yeah, we have 2 accreditations that were up for renewal in 2026, that being CAPRA, which is through the National Recreation and Park Association.
Right.
CAPRA accreditation really has the organization performing at the top level. In fact, with CAPRA, when you look nationwide, according to NRPA, there are only 222 park and recreation agencies across the entire nation that are CAPRA accredited. So that's less than 3% of the overall organizations.
Wow.
So really it validates that the Park District is performing, utilizing best practices, that we're operating efficiently, and that we're just performing at a high level, and that we're engaging the community in working towards meeting the needs of our Naperville community for parks and recreation. The other accreditation is ILEAP, or Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, which in 2022, the Park Police were the first park police force in the entire state to become ILEAP accredited. And there again, that type of accreditation has our police department performing at the highest level, meeting various standards, ensuring that policies are being followed, and really that it's an overall professional department.
Definitely. It really comes down to best practices. And I know that the Naperville Park District is very committed to that, which is excellent. And I think you can see that in everything that we do. Leslie, did you have anything to add to the CAPRA accreditation, or your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, this will be my first time as board president. So I'm excited to see it from that perspective. I know that that staff has always done a great job with this. So I'm just excited to be a little bit more of the inside eye on this this year.
Very, very good. Let's talk about environmental stewardship. I know we've got 140 parks across the district. Our park staff is not just out there, cutting the grass and kind of mulching things. They are really very involved because, again, environmental stewardship is something, it's one of our core values. It's something that the Park District feels very strongly about. And our park staff is out there really doing those activities that kind of rise us to the level of being good stewards of the environment. I know we've had Riverwalk shoreline stabilization projects. We've been installing permeable pavers at the garden plots. And then we've had, some educational and informational initiatives going on that have been overseen by the marketing department to really kind of let the community know what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I don't know if you've got anything more to add to kind of the Parks Initiative and why that's important to the Park District.
Yeah, the environmental stewardship and education being one of the district's core values is a major part of what we do. And I think when you look at park districts, oftentimes you think of, well, there's the parks and the playgrounds, there's the programs that are offered, but there is a tremendous amount of energy that goes into being good environmental stewards. And so there are a number of areas, whether it be our woodland restoration projects, native prairie restorations that we're performing out in the parks, shoreline restorations, and even just the overall maintenance of ponds that take a considerable amount of time and resources. And we've been very fortunate recently with a couple of the environmental initiatives. One that you pointed out, the Riverwalk shoreline
Right.
stabilization along the DuPage River, in partnering with DuPage County Stormwater to be able to perform that project. DuPage County Stormwater also assisted with similar projects at Stanford Meadows and Brighton Ridge Park over the last couple of years,
Right.
which have really enhanced those areas and really just enhanced the overall park and maintaining those particular areas. The other area is the permeable paver parking lot that you mentioned at the garden plots. And that is being done in conjunction with an Illinois EPA GIGO grant, or Green Infrastructure Grant Opportunities Grant, where $785,000 is coming from the state to be able to place the permeable pavers and improve the overall stormwater management at that site. It'll be a wonderful improvement. That particular site is also being supported by DuPage County with a $60,000 grant.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that fact that we can do those kinds of improvements and just really enhance what we're doing and what we're offering to the community, I think that's great.
And I just want to say,
Sure.
environmental stewardship, it really is a group effort. Because
is.
talking about, the community partners that help the Park District with those projects, but also, thinking about the DuPage River, so much work has gone into in the last several years from the forest preserve standpoint. So what we can do on our part just helps the whole ecological health of the river, the environment, and I'm thrilled to see this continue.
So let's talk about another big project. And I feel like we've been talking about a lot of big projects. It's been one of those years. But the strategic plan. So we just completed some of the major work for the 2026 to 2028 strategic plan. And this is something that we do every 3 years. In the in-between years, we're working through the goals as a park district. Brad, can you put a little bit of structure around that and kind of talk about the strategic planning process, why it's important, and maybe highlight some of the key aspects from the current plan?
Yeah. Well, the strategic plan process, it's important because it assists with providing the overall direction for the Park District over the course of the next 3 years, really establishing what are the primary goals and initiatives that we're going to be working towards as an organization.
Right.
And the process begins with community input, looking at what we've heard from residents through past community surveys, other feedback that's been received through focus groups, which actually we had some focus groups that were conducted last year, and taking that information, meeting with staff, meeting with our board, and really talking about what are those areas that really rise to the top as far as priorities for goals, and then developing those goals. So that's something that we're in the process right now of working with actually Northern Illinois University, who's helping us through this process to finalize those goals, identify what are going to be those top priorities within the goals over the next 3 years. And it's something then that we will bring to the board early this year in 2026 for then discussion and then formal approval. But yeah, it really sets that overall direction and provides us with the focus of the areas that we're going to give the greatest amount of attention.
Definitely. Leslie is board president and going through that process recently. What are some of your thoughts on it?
It was such it was such a different experience going through it last year versus my first time doing it, because now that I know, the process and what have you. But what really struck me was we're really evolving. And I know that my small group used that word a lot when we were brainstorming. But, the difference between going through it several years ago and then more recently, you can just really see, as our community evolves, we have to really keep up. And so it really was inspiring and exciting for me to see everybody in that room, whether it was staff, board, to really be together on that we really need to keep, looking forward and seeing how we can make sure that we're still serving the entire community.
Definitely. And just being a part of that process, the thing that really strikes me is staff and board, we're all just so invested in the Park District. We believe in what we do and what we offer. And I think a lot of that's further supported by the fact that we have a lot of staff that are been at the Park District for a long time. And you really start to see that. And I think that's where you start to see a lot of that improvement and a lot of that, well, let's do more and let's do this. And it's just really, it's exciting to see that.
And we want to serve the community the best way that we can.
Right.
We want to utilize what the community is telling us as far as their greatest interests and needs, and then really apply that and provide them with the best programs, the best facilities, best opportunities to be able to recreate as possible.
Well, and you couldn't have teed that up any better, because the next thing that I want to talk about is the referendum. And you talk about a project that has taken time. And I mean, this has been years in the making.
It has.
I mean, at least going back to 2024, and even prior to that, just getting community feedback and kind of understanding how we're able to best serve the community, and then understanding that some of the challenges that we have as a district too. So I'm going to have you start that conversation, Brad, about we've been very ingrained in an informational process to just educate the community and kind of let them know what our thoughts are and what our needs are and how we can best serve them.
Yeah, it's truly been a community-driven process. And when I say that means, and it does date back even prior to 2024. In 2022, when we did a community survey, we heard from the community at that time that there was an interest and a need for more indoor space. We were starting to see it with Fort Hill as we were coming out of the pandemic and starting to see those participation numbers really increase. But then that worked into our 2023 through 2025 strategic plan. That was one of the top priorities, is just working towards addressing the indoor space. But in 2024, we took a deep dive into our indoor recreation space, and we conducted an indoor recreation space, a needs assessment. And that looked at demographics of the community and what's anticipated as far as growth there. Trends, looked at our existing facilities, how they're being used, but it involved quite a bit of community feedback. And in fact, we did another community survey that was specific to just indoor recreation space. And we did a statistically valid as well as just an open survey for anyone to take. And we had over 1,500 residents that actually provided us with input on the open survey. And what came out of that indoor recreation space, the needs assessment, were really four things. One, that we needed to address the demand for indoor aquatics, that there's just a lack of indoor aquatic space within the community. And so how is the Park District going to best address that? The other being that the priority for any new indoor recreation space should be in South Naperville. We have the Fort Hill Activity Center that serves right now the entire community, located a little bit more in the northern portion of the community. But we've continually heard from South Naperville an interest in having more indoor recreation space. And then also understanding that Naperville's population is aging. Many are aging in place. And with that, we need to grow and evolve our programs to be able to accommodate those that are aging. Many of those types of programs provide for health and wellness in an indoor setting. And then the other is the diverse population that we have in the community, and that it's going to continue to become more diverse. And so how are we best positioned to be able to accommodate their interests? So with that information, we then started down the path of more public engagement in 2025. Really looking at potential projects, what an indoor facility could look like with some conceptual plans. And last fall, we conducted a pretty extensive public engagement process that culminated with a community survey to where we received over 8,000 responses back from residents.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible.
It was.
When you talk about engagement, that's what we had hoped to see, but I think that even just kind of exceeded our expectations. That did exceed our expectations. We've not seen anywhere to where the Park District has ever received that much feedback on a particular project or initiative that it's working on with a community survey. So it was wonderful to hear and to be able to receive that feedback and then be able to use that in making some decisions as to where we go. And what we learned from the survey is that overall, the majority of those who responded were supportive of the projects that were being proposed by the district, which included indoor space, a number of park improvement projects, as well as some land acquisition for preserving and maintaining open space. But we also heard from residents that there were some project priorities coming out of that and some tax sensitivities. So in working with the board, we actually reduced the overall referendum package to really focus on the two main priorities, being a new community activity center at Frontier Sports Complex, and then land acquisition that would be used for preserving open space and expanding some of our nature trails. And so that is what is going to be on the March ballot for residents to be able to
weigh in, make their voices heard, and help decide what they would like to see as far as the future of those projects.
Right. And you mentioned at the beginning that this has been such a community-driven process, and I feel like what you just outlined really shows that, and the fact that the board listened. I mean, the community told us what they really wanted, and the board responded accordingly.
Yeah, and listening to that's what we're here for,
Sure,
right?
sure.
The board is literally here to listen to the community and be a voice of the community. So Brad laid it out so nicely. And I've said this a million times, and Brad and I have talked about this a lot. I'm just so proud of the process that this has taken, and it has been a years-long process. And every step of the way, every decision we've made has been dictated by the community. And I'm just so proud that we've really stuck with that throughout this whole process, culminating in the community will be the voters will be the ultimate deciders of this.
Right.
And I think that that's so great, because the voice of the people is what's most important here.
Definitely. And just looking at it from a staff perspective, and me being involved and my team being involved in this, it's been great in the sense that I feel like I've learned so much, and really it just shows that, staff is just invested in trying to put together the best product and put out all the information that residents need to know. So that vote is March 17th, and we want the community to make their voices heard.
Yes.
Absolutely.
March 17th, early voting begins February 5th. And we
Right.
just encourage all residents to vote.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, so before we wrap up, I have a couple of smaller items that I wanted to cover off on with both of you. So just looking ahead, there's ongoing considerations beyond all the other big stuff that we've talked about. There's a continued emphasis on workforce development. And I know that this is something, in working closely with our HR team and just kind of looking at the ebb and flow of the job market and kind of some of the challenges that we've had as a district. We're going to continue to work on that. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit more about just kind of just getting the right people in the Park District? And,
being able to accomplish all that we're able to accomplish, whether it be maintaining parks, operating facilities, providing all the programs that are available to the community, is dependent upon having the employees, the staff, there to be able to support that. And so that continues to be, whether it be part of the strategic plan priorities that we look at over the past several years and the upcoming, as well as annual district goals, is just looking at overall staffing, the recruitment, the retention of staff. Knowing that in some areas, we also have some aging staff that have been here quite a long time. And so preparing for some of those retirements that we know will be coming in the future, and having those succession plans in place. But that continues to be a primary focus of the Park District, is making sure that from an employee standpoint, that we have the employees in place, that we have the employees that are well-trained, that are going to be able to provide exceptional service to our residents moving forward.
and support the operations and kind of whatever the future holds for us. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I feel like this is a topic that pretty much every individual and every company is focused on, is AI. And knowing that we're such a public-facing organization, and knowing that AI can offer some efficiencies, but also we're so keyed into being authentic and presenting our authentic organization to the public. What are some of the considerations as far as implementing AI at the district, and where do you see that going, Brad?
I think, well, it's something that we've had conversations as staff as to how can we responsibly use AI in order to be able to improve our overall operational efficiencies.
Sure.
And so that's where we're focused right now, is beginning to understand and learn about how we might be able to incorporate AI to help in some of those areas. We think of AI and we think more that's the administrative side of it, but something that we've actually been working on for a few years is how do we utilize like autonomous mowing out in the parks,
Right.
to be able to help with supplementing our labor force that is out in the parks and conducting some of the mowing. So this year, actually, we will be presenting to the board an opportunity to purchase some autonomous mowers to assist at our golf courses.
Right.
That would be the first time that the Park District's really purchased autonomous mowers and then implemented them into operations. We've been contracting to have some autonomous mowers out in parks, but that's another way that we're looking to just increase overall operational efficiencies and help with supporting the organization.
That's pretty exciting. We'll see where that
It is.
goes, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up our discussion for the 2026 State of the Park District podcast. Brad, Leslie, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. It was really enjoyable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you also for joining us. And if you're looking for more content, you can find all our podcast episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and at napervilleparks.org/podcasts. Full-length video episodes are available on the Park District's YouTube channel. And as always, stay up to date on everything going on with the Naperville Park District by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, or by visiting our website at napervilleparks.org.